Are you willing to do what's required of you to change, to win, to grow? Like all those things. Are you willing to do what's required? How much do you want change? There's this meme that I have on my phone that I put out every once in a while. It's okay to want it, but then you got to be willing to do the work in order to get it. More of the same equals more of the same. He said it in a different way, right? He basically was like, if you have to like kind of address yourself and figure out, hey, if what I'm doing isn't working, I got to change it. He said, don't become a prisoner, right, to your preference. Don't become a prisoner to your preference just because you prefer to do it this way. You really have to look, am I winning in this area or am I not winning in this area? This is the mindset of champions. I'm telling you. My wife and I just had some of these conversations around our business a little bit ago, and we're like, hey, is this part working? I know this is our preference. I know this is what we prefer to do in business. I know this is how we prefer to operate, but is this allowing us to win or are we losing in this area? Because if we're losing, then we've got to change our preference and we got to do what we know we need to do. That is the seed of how all things change. You have to be honest with yourself. Am I winning or am I losing in my health? Is it my preference to do what I've been doing? And am I winning or losing in that? If I'm losing, then I need to change my preference and I need to do something completely different. Am I winning or losing in my finances? I know this is my preference and the system I've created for myself, but am I winning or losing? Is my money growing every year? Is my net worth going up every year? Is my debt going down every year? Is my savings increasing every year? Or am I staying the same? If so, that means I'm losing. So that means I can't be a prisoner to my preference. I have to change how I'm thinking about this, right? You got to get this new information so that you can go off and change your life, so that you can do all the things that you want to do, that you want to make happen. You can do it all, but you got to know that it's going to require you to change. It's going to require you to be willing to do what it takes. Conviction. The more clear you are, right? The more clarity you have, the more convicted you become. The more clarity you have, the more convicted you become. So again, that always goes back to one of the things we talk about all the time. How clear are you on your vision? Like, how clear are you on exactly what you want to make happen? You're going to hear me say this forever the longer you jump on these calls because it is the unlock. It's the thing. If you are clear, like crystal clear on what you want up ahead, on the life you want, the man or woman you want to be, the things you want to hold in your hand, the things you want for your kids, the exact amount of money, what health looks like all of the things, if you're clear on it, you can then start to get convicted about how you're going to go get it. It's a clarity issue. It's a clarity issue. Most people, you can't get anywhere. You don't know where you're going, right? Like if you don't know the destination, you can't get there. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it with your hand. If you can't see it in your mind, you will never hold it in your hand. If you can't actually see what's up ahead, if you can't shake off the cobwebs, get all the distractions out of the way, get your focus, right? Stop allowing other things to distract you and take away your focus. If you can just get clear, you can get there, right? Just having these conversations, like even from a financial place, guys, I'm a financial guy, right? Like I'm a money guy. We talk money. So, like, just basic things around money. Do you know how much you need to retire? Do you know the number? If the answer is no, it's likely you won't retire. It's literally that simple. If you don't know how much you need, I need $600,000 sitting in an account that gets me 5% so I can get, $30,000 a year added with my social security. I'm good. Okay, I can retire. If you don't know that number, if you're just like, huh, a lot more or not enough or I never will retire, then you absolutely will never retire. You'll absolutely never get there. Like it's that simple on being clear with your vision. That's just an example in money. You can do the exact same things in your health. You can do the exact same things, right, in your relationships. You can determine what that looks like. The clarity. If you're in your health, right, you're in your health journey and you're like, hey, I need to be at X% body fat. I need to be right less than 10% body fat. I want to be able to jump and run and right. Like when I started with my health coach, the first thing he asked me was like, what are we trying to get to? Like, what are we optimizing for? right? And I was like, longevity, I want to be able to still play basketball when I'm 60 or 70 years old, right? If any of you play ball, always know these older guys. There's always one older dude on the court that's just busting everybody's butt, right? He's 65. He's like got the legs of a 20-year-old. Like I was like, that's got to be me. Like I'm very clear on like I want to be that guy playing pickup basketball at 70 years old and still keeping up. Like that's me. And I always said I want to be able to constantly pick up my wife and carry her up the stairs. Those are two parts of my health that I just said, this is what we're optimizing for. I'm clear. I'm clear on that. So then all the work I do in my health life gets me to that place when I'm 70. I'm gonna be playing basketball and still carrying my wife up the stairs. Got it? Right? Like that's it. It's a basic clarity versus I want to be healthy. You see how vague that is? Like I want to be healthy. Sure you do. But what does that look like? How clear are you on what it is that you want? If you can master the clarity side, you can start to get convicted about the things that you're doing. In our text, 177 mental toughness secrets, it has that word conviction. It says champions hold strong convictions. And think about it, if champions hold strong convictions, that means they must have, right, strong clarity, right? They must be very clear on what they're trying to get to. So before we can get to the convicted part, we got to be clear on what we're trying to get to. Here it says in the text, it says, one of the hallmarks of world-class performers is their level of conviction in who they are and what they do. Champions' beliefs and convictions are so strong that it's contagious. Professional performers who passionately believe in their convictions have the power to influence people and change the world. The great ones are easy to recognize. You can see it in their eyes and hear it in their voices. The famous minister John Wesley is a great example. Historians say Reverend Wesley's conviction and passion was so strong that when he spoke, it was as if his soul was on fire and people would travel for miles around just to watch him burn. My research and experience shows that champions are not more passionate about everything. Champions go to extraordinary lengths to discover the work in which their deepest passions lie, and then turn their flame of desire into a blowtorch of healthy obsession. Average people usually don't invest the time necessary to discover where their passions lie. Instead, amateurs tend to implement distractions that are entertaining at best or a way to shield themselves from failure at worst. These distractions include television, spectator sports, hobbies, booze, and drugs. It's far easier to boo and cheer $1 million athlete than it is to become one. Generally speaking, amateurs are spectators in the game of life, and it all begins with their lack of desire to discover their convictions. Their convictions. It said it up here. It says professional performers who passionately believe in their convictions have the power to influence people and change the world. E.T. talked about Michael Jordan, talked about Kobe, said they were convicted playing basketball. That's why they could influence their team. That's why they could influence the world. People with conviction change the world. Many of you want to change the world. You might want to change your life. How convicted are you around these areas? And if you are convicted, then that must mean you're extremely clear on what that means. If you already have the convictions, it must mean that you're extremely clear on what you're trying to get to. If you don't have convictions in certain areas, then it might mean that you're not clear on what you actually want or what you actually want to make happen. Like, again, we can use this in sports. There's a bunch of different ways to look at this, but you take a Kobe and a Michael Jordan, what was their number one thing? I want to win championships. That was their number one goal. They were so clear. There's nothing else. It was not like, well, maybe I kind of want to win a championship, but I also kind of want to win the scoring title, and I also want to be able to like have a lot of friends in the NBA, and I want to be able to like play for a long time. Like it was none of those. It's I'm trying to win a championship and as many of those as possible. So because I'm clear, they could be convicted on what they were doing. They held strong convictions specifically because they were clear. So, ladies and gentlemen, my encouragement to all of you is get more clear on what you want. I know you're going to hear me say it over and over again, and one day you're going to get it. One day you're going to have it written down. One day you're going to read it every day. Some of you might already do that, but I know most people don't. All right? And it's okay. until it's not, right? Until you got to get to the life you want and you don't have the tools and you're not equipped. Like, this is the tool. Just spend some time with yourself, getting clear on what that looks like in all the areas of your life, in your relationships, in your financial life, in your health life, in your right, in your spiritual life. Like, what does it look like for you? I always ask the question, draw me up your life in 10 years. If you're 10 years, you're going to end up somewhere, right? 10 years, you're going to end up somewhere. You could take it shorter. You could say 5 years, you're going to end up somewhere. If God said, draw up whatever you want in life and I'll give it to you. If that was your communication with God and you're like, hey, in 5 years, I'm going to end up somewhere. And God's like, here, just tell me exactly what you want life to look like. Just write it all out. Give me all the stuff and I'm going to make that happen for you in 5 years. What would you write down? Would it just be like, I own a house and I got passive income? Like, is that life? Like, that's just because that's what most people go. It's like, I bought my house and I don't have to work a lot. Okay. God's like, all right, if that's what you want, right? But what about all the other things? What about your health? What about your relationships? How much money actually comes in? What do you do with that money? Who are your friends? What do you see every day? What do your eyes get to experience? What do you get to experience? Like, these become the things you get clear on about your life so that you can build these convictions, so that you can be a champion, so that you can start working and growing and learning at the pace you need to in order to get to that life. Lyndon Johnson said, what convinces is conviction. You must believe in the argument you are advancing. What convinces someone is how convicted you are about it. What convinces someone to come into your business is because you're convicted about it. That's really what it is. It's your conviction. So, action step for today says, on a scale from 1 to 7, 7 being most, how much conviction do you possess about the importance of your work, about what you do for work, about what you contribute to the world? Remember, what you do at your job might not be the thing that you're called to do in order to fulfill your purpose in life. But how convicted are you about the importance of what you're doing? If you answer less than a 7, you got to do some things to boost your level of conviction. That means you probably need to get a little bit more clear. That's all. Just a little bit more clarity. Get a little bit more clarity. That conviction rises, ladies and gentlemen. These are the things we got to remember as we go off and design our ideal life. It's too crowded at the bottom. It's time to get to the top. But you need new skills to get to the top. You need new mindset to get to the top. Can't play down here with everyone else. If you have a different mindset, you actually pull yourself up and you get to the top of that mountain. And that's what we're here to do, y'all. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. I think about you guys. I pray about you guys. I want y'all to get all the things that you want in life, all the things that you want to make happen, all the things you want to make happen for your family. I want those things for you. We just got to do the work. That's all. We just got to do the work, y'all. All right. Love you guys. Enjoy your Wednesday. I'll see you Friday. Take care.